Good evening, everybody. I apologize. I'm a little bit late, you guys. My internet shut down completely. It just everything went blank a few minutes ago. And so I am just happy to be here right now. And my gosh, we have a wonderful show tonight for you guys. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, our trusted news source, but we do have some breaking news. Actually, it's a couple weeks old, but a lot of people have been following this fella. His name's Ken. He's out of Panama. And that is what this show is on tonight. We have got some data tonight on the potato-looking meteorite that everybody is calling the Panama Meteorite Alien tonight. And it has been remote viewed, you guys. And we have a lot of data to discuss. And of course, I have my good friend, Barry Littleton, here in the studio with me tonight. And he has done several videos on things that could pertain to what this meteorite is. Is it a meteorite? Is it a potato? We're going to talk about that tonight. There's a whole lot to unpack this evening, and I am super excited about this. I love weird stuff. And let me tell you, this could be a fungus too. It could be a fungus. Could be venom. It could be just about anything. There's a whole lot, like I said, to unpack tonight. And the space bud. Yes, Trey. Absolutely. The space bud. Gosh, you never know what you're going to get on the Cryptid Huntress channel on a Thursday night. It is a variety show like none other. And so I hope y'all enjoy this show, because I know I've already enjoyed getting ready for this one. And looking over all this data. Barry, I'm going to be throwing all this at Barry. This is all new, y'all. Barry and I have not discussed this whatsoever. We were actually just laughing right before we went live, and we were trying to kind of, get up to date on stuff. And we were like, screw it. Let's just go live. Okay. So this is going to be raw and uncut. Okay. Tonight. So get the popcorn, y'all. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we're going with it. Okay. So if you guys would like to check out all of my archive shows and see my calendar of events, I got some public stuff coming up. If you guys want to join me, I will be at a couple of conferences, some Bigfoot events, and UFO conferences as well. I've got 2 of those scheduled. It's all on my website. I will go ahead and pull this up. So you guys, James asked me to advertise this. This is the Super Soldier Activation Conference down in Orlando, Florida. I'll be there for that October the 8th through the 12th. So you guys, please come see me at that. Okay. And of course, all of the data for tonight's target is on my Patreon. And so if y'all want to check out the raw data, please go over to my Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress, on patreon.com. This is the link right here. Not that you can click the screen, I don't think. But that's where it's at. If you guys would like to see all of the data tonight for this, and it's weird. It's really weird tonight. So, and War Woman Goods is my shop. If you guys would like to support my shows, everything is, I'm going to say sponsored, I guess, by my shop. I guess you can kind of say that. So thank you guys so much for all your support. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into this weird potato meteorite symbiote, as my son called it. We're going to get into the Venom origin story as well tonight. Okay, so don't y'all worry. We're going down every different path and detour and angle of this space bud tonight. That has turned it. I don't know if you guys are watching this. It is wild. It actually went from what looks like a silver potato, is sprouted into what looks like Venom from the Marvel series, and it looks like it's alive. Okay, and so I don't know. Here we go. Let me hold on, gotta get my papers right. A man in Panama claims to have found a meteorite that is growing tentacles and resembles an alien organism, sparking debate on social media, TikTok, about its authenticity. The man is named Ken, K-I-N. His TikTok channel is Ken Panama, if you guys want to go check that out. He found a silver-colored rock in a burning crater on August the 29th of 2025. He began posting raw videos on TikTok showing the debris. He took the rock inside his home, claiming that it grows bigger when it's exposed to light. It emits a strong odor, and an organism detached from the main rock, and it started changing its appearance rapidly. In one of the latest updates, the object began emitting a faint hum, and the air around it was statically charged, and it continues to grow daily. Some believe that it could be extraterrestrial life, while others believe it may be a common fungus, and some think it's a hoax. No scientific confirmation has been made about the meteorite's authenticity or the claims of alien life, but photos of individuals in hazmat suits have recently surfaced, and they have gone viral. Ken's supporters believe they are in unmarked vehicles, and they are there to confiscate the meteorite. But like, why did they not go sooner to go get this thing? We're going to talk to Barry about that. Is this meteorite a living organism, some form of a self-replicating technology, or a hoax? I think it's a potato. Just kidding. If it is indeed real, it suggests Panspermia. How do you pronounce that? Where life may be seeded by meteorites. Thus, Venom, the origin story. This raises the question of whether this is connected to 3i Atlas, and the remote viewing data from that target did suggest an extraterrestrial takeover, maybe the Reptilians. And we'll get into that a little bit tonight, too. And, of course, I have Barry Littleton here. He's one of my resident UFO ET experts in the field and all the communities. So please help me welcome to the show my good friend, Mr. Barry Littleton. What?
Oh, hey, what's up? Oh man, I can't believe you drew me into this one. I was holding under my breath while your internet was getting fixed and everything. I was holding my breath underwater because I was like, man, I hope she didn't remote view this one.
Oh, this is a remote viewing show, Barry. We had several people remote viewing this one.
We've done a few, and I was like, oh no. So I'm gonna wind up losing support from people.
What? Oh no! You're gonna gain support over this one.
Oh man,
you will. Well, we listen. We're here for the data, okay, and it's for a discussion. This is, I know it's very popular and it's viral. It's gone viral on TikTok. Okay, a lot of people are discussing this right now. And yes, several of us have remote viewed this, as a matter of fact, and I am presenting my data to the public tonight. It is quite strange. Okay, very strange. Now I know you're not on TikTok, right, Barry?
No. I need to up my social media status. I need to get on there probably, since apparently that's where all the major news seems to go, is on TikTok, right?
It does. Well, it's not as censored, I guess. It may be a little more censored now, but that is where people can kind of post freely. Okay, and it's where all the kids are going. All the young bucks are over there, over on TikTok. So I like to keep my ear to the street. You know how I am, and so I had a conversation actually with my sister about it. She was really, really into this thing. Okay. And we had a couple of conversations about it. And I told her, I was like, well, I thought it was actually a hoax at first, because I thought, well, it was just some guy that, he went into his backyard and he had spray painted a potato silver. That's what I thought. That's why I got my potato out tonight. Okay.
And the fact that it changed colors in between the time of, no one's seems to. You noticed that, right?
I didn't know for sure, because you never know, like with lighting and everything, things do change colors. The video, the film, however it is transmitted through media and the internet, it can change, according to the location. So I didn't put much thought into it. I never really put much thought into this at all until it got assigned to me as a remote viewing target at some point. And so, yeah, the data is weird. And I guess what we should do probably is maybe set the tone for like what exactly this is. Okay. And, but from the little bit of stuff that you have seen, the little bit of evidence you've seen, what are your thoughts on it so far?
Oh man. But I'm always going to be candid with you, right? I would say it looks like a very elaborate, well done hoax. That's what I think it is. And
that's what you think.
For starters, there are a couple of things. Let's be real, okay? If you've got something like that and you've got time enough to put it on TikTok, when you really start looking into it, you've talked to people that can verify this, that they've got satellites that can pinpoint a match almost anywhere on this planet. The stuff I have on my shirt, you know what I mean? And you've got an organism like that, you broadcasted about it, and they haven't gotten there immediately. I mean, I don't get it. And I heard, it's South America, wherever, and it's different. It's more third world. No, that doesn't cover it either. And here's the other thing I have, okay, is that when you start really looking at checking it out, you've got some people that are well-known makeup artists, like that Christopher Lee cat, not the dead actor, but that makeup artist. He's like kind of trying to come on board where like Stan Winston and people like that are doing. But anyway, people like him have come forward and they've said that they think it's a hoax, something that they can be done with. I always get in trouble on your car and on your show for mispronunciating of words. So I want to make sure I try to get this right. Polydimethium silicium and coupled with hexane, a common solvent. And he starts describing how it will start growing like that and bubbling and doing these different things. It contracts and makes it look like it's breathing. And also how they can put a little AI programming apps with it and things like that. And he was debunking it, so, and you've had several of them that have come forward and given that compound there. I will throw something else on top of it. All right. To me, when he started taking it out of the safe and started opening up the safe, to me, it looked like also it was something added with ferromagnetic fluid, which is I've seen used before to emulate black goo. And things are just a little too convenient. Okay. First of all, this has got the complete theme of like
Venom,
body invasion of the body snatchers. Okay. The Thing, or my favorite episode of Doc 2, one of my favorite episodes from the late 70s, early 80s, The Seeds of Doom, which deal with these meteorites that come here that, have these like crinoid type creatures is what they're called. And crinoids come from planets where supposedly the vegetation eats the animals and they're hostile species. That's the science fiction representative. So, when dealing with this, I'm seeing a lot of that. I mean, and I'll say it looks like a well done hoax. But I mean, you've got people right now that can do stuff in these studios and filming, and it's getting so advanced right now. And I don't buy it. That's why. But I'm open. I don't want to get everybody mad at me, but I'm open. Maybe I could be wrong. It's happened often. I'll be wrong on something every couple centuries. No, I'm just kidding. But I've been wrong a lot of times, so I might be wrong on this, and your data's going to prove me completely wrong. And it's not just some type of an experiment. It's not some great hoax, and somehow it's we're just not getting some things. Like, who are the people that were invited to come see this, and who is it that was getting possession of it, and things I hear. Like, I get on, look at a video, and the guy, oh, there are people on the internet investigating this, and there's where's the hard evidence of anything? I don't buy it. So maybe you can sway me the other way, my good friend Jessica Jones.
Okay. I'm not here to sway anybody. I'm here to go over the data. Okay.
Oh,
and
man, come on.
And just to kind of look over, let's look at all the angles of it. Okay, that's what I want to do. And I was showing pictures. I was flashing some pictures up on the screen that were some screenshots from his TikTok. Okay, and that's kind of like my thing too. Is like, okay, as soon as this happened, he started posting, and I want to make it clear that I did. Listen, I got all Snoopy today. I kind of went through his TikTok a little bit to kind of go back and see like what was he posting before all this happened. And it's like regular everyday life stuff. Him and maybe his kid or something. It's like him and his cat, it's nothing like, there's nothing like out of the ordinary. I didn't go back that far because I didn't have a lot of time today. Okay. But I did notice it was just like a regular, like I said, everyday life kind of stuff. And then it's like this, he's got a video, and I'll go ahead and pull this up while I'm talking. I'll pull up his TikTok channel. Now I want you guys to full credit to Ken Panama over on TikTok. Okay. This has been shared and been viewed multi-millions of times. Okay. And we're going to pull up his TikTok channel or his TikTok page, whatever you want to call it. This is Ken Panama, K-I-N.
And you should include that is because it's transparency that's going to keep it legit and keep it in the public eye. And all the things I heard. Yeah, that's going to, it's the safety valve for when this thing just disappears and gets shut down and all that.
Just disappears.
And,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. Listen, they've already set the stage to where he's taken little bits and pieces of it and sent it out to scientists all over the world already. So it is not contained at all, Barry. It's little pieces, according to what they're saying, have been sent out. Okay. So little fibers of it or whatever.
You know what that means? We should get tons of data from tons of scientists then, if that's true.
Yeah, right.
Since we're talking about data.
Yeah. I guess so. Okay. So I don't know. I don't want to click on all of these right here. I don't know how that will work with my computer right now, but let's just show a couple of these. Here we go. Hopefully this will play or not. Okay. I don't know. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see.
Wait.
Señores, ustedes no
don't speak Spanish, so we'll
lo que van a ver a continuación.
Well, all right. Let me just take that off. Let's go back.
Y cuando veo
Dang it. Okay. Hold on. So that was the potato. Okay. It looks like a potato. But here's the thing. Okay. So let's go to some of the ones that have like the most views on it, right? Like this 4.3 million views on this. Okay. It looks like there is an organism that has sprouted out of the side of this thing. Oh my gosh. I don't know who that. I'm so sorry, y'all. My computer. All right. Maybe I shouldn't play these.
That's a Backstreet Boys you're watching there. Some Backstreet Boys.
I don't know what that was. I don't know who that was. Man, I tell you what, the computer, everything is acting wonky on me tonight, Barry. Everything. I'm having a hard time with
Are you having storms over that way?
No. I just, for whatever reason, everything's gone haywire. Okay, I'm not going to play these. I'm just going to let the audience see them. If y'all can see this, it starts to sprout. Okay, and it looks almost like a crab or something coming out, and it starts moving around quite a bit. And
little shop of horrors.
Little shop of horrors. That's right.
I was looking for Rick Moranis.
Yes. Well, here's the thing, Barry. It starts getting bigger. Okay, so like here, I don't know if y'all can see this, but it starts to move. He's got like something he's kind of poking at, like a chopstick or something, a stick, and the thing just keeps getting bigger, and eventually it gets to be like real big. If y'all can see this, it gets to be bigger and bigger, and it just keeps growing. And he's got it in this little glass container, and then eventually he gets it out of the container, and it's like this little animal. I mean, to me, I've watched enough of these to where like I'm not sure this is totally fake. But here's the thing, like I don't think it's fake, Barry. But I have to question, like, is this a fungus? Now you have done plenty of research on fungi, right? Does this look like this could be like a fungus to you? What do you think?
I mean, possibly, but it's possibly that's it's nebulous to a degree. I mean, I just don't buy it. But
Okay.
but I believe on the serious note that this is tying in some real principles of some real things that we're dealing with that are legit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just
Okay.
using that for this production. For example, the fact that we are dealing with, when it starts dealing with like, the different types of bacteria and fungus that do exist in space. And
Yeah.
that the fact that I think there's been a war going on between humanity and some of those microorganisms, space organisms that are on the conscious level beyond just panspermia. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. So I think that's just definitely legit on that they're dealing with that. And also when we start dealing with the concept of the black goo, which is very popular right now,
Yes.
I watched somebody say that people talking, oh, look at them, they got black goo coming out of their nose, and it's going way far out with that. But in reality, when you start watching things like the first season of the X-Files, which gave a lot of real good, I mean, that was a whistleblower deal there. The first season especially,
Uh-huh.
and they dealt with what? That sentient black goo, and the Gray themselves in their original primordial form was this black goo. Okay. And, it comes up again and again all the way to what that last alien, which one was that? Can't think of the name, where they're showing like how that ship crashed and all that stuff. Like, you want to say, it's not Interstellar, but it's one of those. Anyway, so those things I think are not a joke, and the fact that I do believe that there are organisms that do come through our biosphere all the time, not just physically, but also spiritually, inorganic, that come through here all the time and drop in our atmosphere. So in that part, I don't think so. There's the part that could it be real? Yes, there's that possibility. Do I buy it? No, but I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's based on solid things and things like that. And when dealing with fungi, you've got types that may have come here from somewhere else that can be portrayed as hostile also. I think you and I talked about before the Wetico, or Wetico, however you pronounce that one. But
Yes.
it's always described as also the mind virus. When you start getting into that deeper though, it seems they're describing a type of a fungus too. And the fact that is so much involved in the contact experience for myself, just mycelium and a fungal component, it's quite interesting, especially so that's to be taken serious. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, okay. This is a good point from Ruth too, and there's several people in the chat who have said this tonight. I'm surprised he doesn't wear gloves, so he doesn't know what he has. And that's the logical thought. Okay, like why is he not wearing gloves? Put on a hazmat suit himself. I mean, think about the radiation and stuff. If that's a real alien,
especially after putting it and having the thing burn a leaf like he showed. And these special effects people describe how that could be done very quite easily. They actually broke this whole thing down. Just people start Googling debunking the Panama deal, and you'll start getting a bunch of scientists on there, or not scientists, special effects people seem to be the ones that were speaking up the most, saying that they could reproduce this. Anyway, they thought it was a good job too.
Yeah. Well,
that it's when it starts looking like that and some of the other stages that it kind of reminds me of some things that can be mixed with ferromagnetic fluid also. And I've seen someone, I've mentioned this before, this dude is Rudolph the White Alien, and somebody I used to work with followed him all the time, and some weird perverse connection they had. And the cat is dark. Very little of it could I watch, but he's got this thing. Oh, I've got the black goo, and he's got this test tube. He's going like that. He's going like this. The stuff is moving, and people are, oh my God, it looks like it's alive and stuff. It was ferromagnetic fluid you could get on Amazon and order right now for some magic tricks. Okay, straight up. So it's stuff like that where the deception comes in and out, and the way they're able to produce some of these things. I'm not saying it is, but just we really got to use discernment. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, oh, it just happens to come from Atlas 3I. And how do they know that? Where's that connection and the evidence of that? Did you get that in the data? Maybe you should go over it now.
You're gonna have to find out. Well, I got some more stuff to talk about first. We need to be thorough on this one, okay? And it just for some of the conspiracy theorists out there, okay, or conspiracy realists like myself, realist theorists. I don't know. We feel like there might be some sort of a setup for like setting the stage for an alien invasion or something to happen that is going to put us in pure lockdown on Earth, like an alien invasion or something. Okay. And I don't think that's going to happen. That's a really negative timeline. We don't want to go there, y'all. Okay. But we've all been sitting around wondering if it's going to happen. They said that this 3I Atlas is going to be, I heard today they're is planning to land on Mars. Okay, so I don't know. It's supposed to go, it was going near the sun, and it's going to Mars, and but they're kind of setting the stage for something. And why not? If 3I Atlas has got probes, remember probes was in my data for that one, and if it is sending off probes to go check out other planets. I mean, let's just say seed life. Take over the world. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
I could be wrong, but I think currently Atlas 3I is about 350 million miles from Earth. So it detached a probe from that distance. It would have been further back at that time, much further out. So isn't that interesting? It just happened to dispatch a probe that came here, though, and now all of a sudden, it's going to land on Mars. Boy, that sure isn't what the astronomical data says. But hey, whatever. I just go with the flow here. You know what I mean? I want to belong. So
yeah, I want to believe. I think that's from the X-Files. Okay, well. Okay, so you mentioned that chemical compound that this could be. Okay, there could be some kind of chemical compound. I was thinking like graphene oxide too. That's something they say that actually has a it's almost like AI, right? It's like got a life of its own, and some kind of like metallic compound or element or something like that. So, but there's also a fungus. If I can find where this fungus is. Okay, there's a fungus. I'm going to show. Okay, so I'm going to show the audience again what this thing looks like, and then we're going to look at this fungus. I think this is important to make this connection here. And here's a close-up. They say that this thing feeds on light. Okay, so the guy was saying anytime that he would shine a flashlight on it or have it out in the sunlight, it would grow. It's almost like what was that? The gremlins. It's like don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet, or else they multiply. And this one's, well, if you put it in the sunlight, put it in the light, it starts to multiply and it grows. And so, and my gosh, this right here actually did remind me of the microwave scene on Gremlins. I'm just saying.
That's our best scene of that movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Where the gremlin explodes in the microwave. Okay, it's gross, but it did kind of remind me of that. But there is a fungus known as the Clathrus archery, however you pronounce that. And so remember what that looks like, and then let's look at this. All right. And I think that this does look a lot like, it looks a lot like that little thing that we're looking at. The Clathrus archery, commonly known as the octopus stinkhorn or devil's fingers, is a fungus which has a global distribution. The species was first described in 1980 in a collection from Tasmania. Okay, now Tasmania is not close to Panama, as far as I know. But let's see. Here's some pictures of it. I don't know if y'all can see that very well here. Let me move it over. Okay, it's got those fingers on it. You know what I mean? It's got like those little tentacles, just like an octopus kind of, that looks a lot like what's coming out of that potato rock meteorite.
Does that look potato? Does that have potato-like qualities to you down there in the middle?
Kind of does. It kind of does a little bit. Okay, so that's, I just wanted to make that connection there for the audience tonight. I think it's I think it looks similar now, and they say that I do believe I was reading that they do move a little bit too. Like it has a similar appearance to the described entities, and yeah, and some people did point out that it looked like a planted potato. Okay, at first, but this thing just keeps on morphing. That's why I have my potato here with me tonight, and I wish if I had silver paint, I would have painted it. Okay.
What was my mother used to call them when the potatoes start sprouting eyes? She'd show them to me and they start growing those things.
Oh man. Yeah.
That was a good connection, I think, though. Good job on that.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to point that out. And there's my friend Renee. Hello, Renee. Thank you for being here. Okay. Well, let's see what else. They have debunked it with the people have said they've debunked it. Okay, but it could be that plant. It could be this substance called the polydimethylsiloxane as well, mixed with hexane, which is the solvent. They say they use that material in medical devices, cookware, lubricants, and sealants. And I don't know. To me, it looked kind of like it could be like some kind of big graphene oxide kind of thing too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
okay?
So they can give it a snapping motion as the PDMS absorbs the hexane.
Yeah. Potatoes have eyes. Oh man, this is crazy. Okay. Well, I guess let's go ahead and get to the data tonight.
Mr. Potato Head had eyes, didn't he?
Yeah, it's really wild. Okay, well, like I said, this has gotten millions of views on TikTok, and it's actually kind of upset a lot of people because they're thinking, well, this could be, we're thinking about in terms of movies and disclosure, okay, and Venom is this is the exact origin story of Venom, by the way, okay, because I was talking to my son about this when I picked him up from school today. And I put on a video for him to watch, and I said, Ben, I'd like to know your input on this. He's 11, he's very smart, okay, but he's also got a lot of knowledge on these Marvel movies, and there's a lot of soft disclosure. So I look to my son sometimes to be my resident expert on stuff like this, and I just wanted to get his opinion. No front loading, no nothing. I just said, hey, listen to this video, and then I want you to tell me how this correlates with Venom, okay, and he goes, oh my God, straight up the bat. He's like, oh, Mom. He was like, that is 100% Venom origin story from Marvel. And he said, from it coming out of, what is the name of that? Hold on. I wrote it down. Clintar, because it sounded like the Clintons. So I was like, Clintar. So he came in from like on a meteorite or something. Okay. Spacecraft, a meteorite. He crashed into Earth, and it was, he needed to get into a host to survive. Okay. And I'm not saying this fella right here is a host, but when my son heard him speaking Spanish, he goes, oh my God, Venom actually got into a guy who spoke Spanish. He was like, this is the exact origin story of Venom. He said it was he told me that it was in a Spanish speaking country is all he knew. Okay. And he just said, pretty much everything that he was listening to on this video that I had him watch today, he said it was of the Venom origin story. Okay. And Ortis said, no, it's not. But my son said it was. Okay. So I'm just saying.
Well, I know Venom. I know Venom. I thought he came in on a shuttlecraft. He got on one of those. Anyway, the substance did. It's interesting. Of course, I'm a little bit older, so I have a different perspective. And when I first saw it, I'll tell you what it reminded me of. The first movie, Creep Show. The one where the meteor fell, and it was actually Stephen King himself playing that character. Meteor shit. That deal. He touched it and then everything turned green on him, and he turned into a crinoid. That's kind of just what it reminded me of, for all purpose kind of a cordy deal. But that again, just dealing with that meteor concept and fungus or algae or something that comes in on one,
Mm-hmm.
And at some points, I think, like I mentioned before, I don't think that's really a joke. But when you're dealing with some of the things that are inside the meteorites, not on the surface, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
Wow. Well, let's see. Let's just get into the data, okay? Because I just feel like the tensions have been high with a lot of people, and this is another thing. Somebody in the chat a while ago said, "Well, this is the white hats doing some like kind of putting a story out there to awaken the masses to all this." And it does seem like, Barry, you and I do a lot of remote viewing targets. We've talked a lot about 3i Atlas and a lot of other. I was going to say space buds, like Rose says, but we've kind of, I don't want to say debunked, but you and I have really talked a lot about how things never come to fruition. Okay, and this Avi Loeb out of Harvard had been talking about 3i Atlas and saying it was a hostile alien spacecraft, and they did that the same with Oumuamua a couple years ago. And that never really came to fruition. Nothing ever came about with it. And then we got this 3i Atlas, and now we've got possible Venom-like probes coming down here and attaching to guys in Panama and stuff. And
potatoes.
The potato, the space bud. Yeah, but I mean, it may just be another distraction. Do you know what I mean? Could be just another distraction, and because there's a lot going on in the world right now. Okay, there's a lot.
Again, just before we go data, just a quick rehash. Again, I found it very interesting that the reason why we did that whole other thing on Atlas is that I found it extremely interesting that it's going to be invisible to us when it's within 18 million miles of Mars. It'll be invisible.
Okay.
We won't be able to see what it's doing then. So if it really was some type of a Bracewell probe or something like that, it'd be doing it then, and what really I think we should consider something too, Jessica, science isn't the all answer, but it's a good base, a good foundation to build, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I read physics.org and stuff like that. And they talk about Atlas 31 on there quite a bit. There's a lot of people looking at it astronomers, and they're all saying it's a comet. I mean, it's and it's filled with extremely high of what is it? Methane and was it water and they're saying that there's a combination that it's high of more than any other comet they've seen. But when we're dealing with stuff like this, Jessica, I've mentioned this before, that it's not just the cryptid thing, but the context scenario and all this. It's a conscious event. They're conscious events. And you've got enough psychokinetic, morphogenetic energy coming off Earth that we might be able to change that perceptually, technically, to something else. I think we underestimate what we're capable of in terms of beings of consciousness and beings of perception. So I just want to throw that out there because, we ultimately really don't know. But I think it really makes it more something needs to be incorporated that we don't think of enough or isn't mentioned enough. The conscious the conscious part of this whole thing. So anyway, so go ahead. I'm going to talk more. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Damien can quote Creepshow. He says, "Boy, does it itch."
Yeah. What is it, Jody? Jody something? You luckhead or something you kept saying? Yeah. that was that was an interesting deal. And and actually when some things, when you kind of look at that thing too, it looks, you remember how the remake of the Thing movie with who's it, Kurt Russell, I think? Remember how when it was going to its natural form, it was like streaming out these like tentacle looking things, that it would turn into something else. And that was another deal of now let me think, or was that just the Seeds of Doom, where that was a meteorite that was found in Antarctica? I know Doctor Who played on that too for that episode, for the Crinoids, Seeds of Doom. But also I believe that I know that that creature was found in the ice in Antarctica. I'm trying to remember if it was in a meteorite too, or if it was. But anyway, point being, sorry, I know you'll go over the data, but it's interesting when all this keeps coming up, body snatchers again, all that stuff, and, Horse or Rick Moranis, that movie.
Man, I'm telling you, it's soft disclosure, all those movies. And, what is the most mysterious place on Earth is like Antarctica, right? One of the most mysterious places. And we don't know what all is going on down there, except for some of the remote viewing we've done.
I just got done, watching actually Brad talking again, and we talked to him about it live too. He was showing that ship, possibly crashed ship, that would just be huge. It looks like almost tent poles and things he was showing. And, I think that might be a good target for you, a blind target sometime, because it makes you wonder how much of that is still functioning under there.
It is.
Anyway, sorry, I don't want to take us off topic. So.
Yeah. No, listen, I'd love to remote view stuff like that. I don't know. I love weird stuff. I definitely love. This is one of the more weird things too. Right here, the space potato alien from Panama. Okay, so this data is kind of perplexing and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. And so I guess we'll just go through the data. I'll just state it as it is. And Barry, you can help make sense of this, maybe. Okay, to make sense of this. Okay, so the
or get dogged out.
Yes, whatever. So whatever that thing is right here, this that is on King Panama's TikTok. Okay, let's pull up some pictures right here. Now this is how it started out. It actually started off looking like just a potato. Okay, and he put it in a container. He taped it up, and things started sprouting out of it. Now, yes, it does look like a fungus right there, in my opinion. But it started growing uncontrollably, out of control, according to what he was showing us. And he had it in a safe. Okay, and yes, there were people who eventually did show up in hazmat suits just recently over the past couple of days. Look at that, and it's actually moving. It looks like a living animal inside of this safe, and he was carrying this thing around with him wherever he was going. And these are the guys in the hazmat suit. Now, could these be people wearing Halloween costumes? Absolutely. It could be
let me interject some. I saw this thing. Supposedly, there are some internet people that looked up the. Why are you laughing?
I'm glad that you did the research on this because I did not. I did not dig into their costumes here. Okay, this hazmat suits.
Supposedly they pulled up the patches on there.
Oh,
and there's
Lord.
some connection with the patches with some sort of hazmat people in that area where this gentleman lives.
Okay.
So apparently that is supposed to be pure validation right there. But I just want to throw that in there. So there are people that are pulling up those patches and the uniforms themselves. So there's supposed to be some validation there, supposedly. So anyway, sorry. Please keep going.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate that. Yeah. Because, here's the thing. When the guys in the official suit show up, all crap hits the fan. Now it's like, oh, well, this can't be a hoax. Now we got the hazmat team there. And they are asking him to, look at this thing, to study it, confiscate it potentially. And now things just got real. It's kind of where people were going with it. They're like, well, it wasn't, it was kind of like, well, it could have been a hoax at first. Like, we don't know. But now the guys in the hazmat suit showed up, and they're saying, people close to him were saying that there were vehicles showing up that were unmarked vehicles. And so it kind of gave it a more of like an official energy to it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like official. Like they got people, the MIBs have now shown up, basically, was what they were kind of alluding to. I don't know. Let's see the data. Don't laugh until the data's done. Okay. I don't know. I'm laughing at the data myself.
I just watched a deal with a man in black standing at this counter. And he's got the total look, and then he's going like this. And a woman like pulls a gun on him or something, telling him to leave, and he goes like this. And so she puts the gun down and starts moving around like she's this zombie. And he's doing like this. She turns around, and it's hard to know where this begins and ends. Yeah, that came across my feed, and was
Mind
supposedly from back
control.
in like the 80s. So I don't know. Just
Oh my
interesting.
gosh.
Sorry, that's why I started giggling. Sorry, that's why I could.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Amy has an interesting comment here. I can tell you, after my son's abductions, I would find him standing in the middle of the street. I would ask him what happened. He said men in black and white suits would be waiting for him outside in black cars. Oh my gosh. That is terrifying. I'm sorry that happened to your kid. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's get to the data real quick. Okay. And we live in a very strange world. I tell you what, we really do. And okay, so this was all I was given were some coordinates as a blind target. And let's go over the sensory data. Okay, for the Panama Meteorite Alien potato. Okay. So my sensory data: black, dark, substantial. The word substantial came up 3 times in this target, in this session, for some reason. Substantial. I kept hearing that word. Intimidate, thrown and throwing, zoomed, hard, interrogated, many, and threatened. Okay, that was my sensory data. Some of my analytic overlay is I wrote down pure based. It's almost like a phrase. I wrote pure-based, whatever that is, pure based. Underneath that, I wrote carbon and carbon based. I wrote down the word substack. I've heard that word, but I don't know what that is. Okay. I wrote down ceremony, objects, Harvard was in here. I'm wondering if that was like touching on like the whole Avi Loeb guy or something, because I wrote down Harvard. I was picking up on a hard surface. I wrote down substantial threat. Substantial threat as in there, because when I wrote down, I was getting the sensory of like something that was substantial, and then I wrote down substantial threat. And then I wrote down, this is weird, Barry, because I wrote down lined up, and then I heard to take out. Substantial threat lined up to take out. And then I wrote down roundabout and round them up. And then I was picking up on I wrote down behavior and then talk about it. Okay, so I wrote down, and I don't know, that it's all kind of weird to me, okay, because that sounds kind of ominous right there. And that's pretty much my first page of data, my first 3 stages. I did draw a sketch, but it's just like a round object, basically, with a triangle in the middle of it. Okay, so what do you think about that so far, Barry? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I looked up Substack, and it says it's an online platform for tool writing and content creators to publish and monetize newsletters and podcasts. So that's in meaning that they want to definitely get that out there. That could be to expose the truth. I mean, honestly, with what you said so far, it could either be a real threat, or it could be the hoax being perpetrated. Mm-hmm. And the intent behind it. You know what I mean? So keep going. Jury's still out for me, okay? I can't speak for everybody else. You got enough people in chat that'll put it all together.
Okay. Inez says Substack as in morphing and multiplying too. So that's interesting. I did not look up the definition of Substack, and it could be like 2 words too. So very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Inez. I appreciate that. Okay, so it lined up to take out. It's weird. And round them up. I mean, all right, let's keep going. We got more data. Okay, so the next thing I wrote down, I was picking up like my sensor data was like targeted. Okay, targeted. And I wrote targeted individuals. And I heard fire in the hole. I heard like that phrase. And then I picked up on an explosion, something that had detonated, like an explosion. And I actually like I had some drawings here. I'll show the audience in a minute, but I wrote down punishment, and I wrote down free fall and freelance. And then I kept hearing all these British women's voices. It was like a British accent. And I heard a woman say, in my body, in my body, in my body. is what she said, in my body. And which was kind of weird, kind of weird when you're taking the idea of like venom and stuff too. I know that sounds weird, but like in my body, something's in our body, fire in the hole. But anyway, something was in this woman's body. And like I said, I was hearing a lot of voices, like women's voices, many voices in unison, but separate. And these are the three things that I drew. If y'all want to see this. So I wrote down what looks like a target, and then I wrote down, like, I don't know, just like a circle with some lines around it. And then there was like a bunch of something, of round things right there. And that could be, if there's some sort of an object, it was like a bunch of objects. I don't know, maybe they're little meteorites. I don't know. So I wrote down, I heard the woman say, in my body. And then the next thing I wrote down was like, take control, spiritual aspect. And I kept getting this like imagine data, imagination, imagined. And I wrote down gravity and gravitational spin. Okay. And so that was my second page of data. What did anything stand out to you with that, Barry? Anything?
Not really, to be honest. I don't know. It still sounds like, I don't keep going. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. This data is really odd for this. It's really odd because I'm picking up on, there's people in this data. Okay. There's people who are talking about something's in their body. Okay. And, targeted individuals are having something put in their body. That is what this data is suggesting right here. Targeted individuals are having something in their body. There's a spiritual aspect to it. And there's something's being detonated, basically. That's what I wrote down. So I don't know. Like I said, it's really weird. Let's go to the third page.
That takes us into the new types of implants also. And also what are called biosensors and things. And that's what you've got. You've got these target individuals are getting injected with biosensors and also these implants that are semiconductors. You know what I mean? And that's interesting because some of them have an organic component too. So I find that very interesting. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. For sure. And I like Trey's comment too. Says, wait, there's a movie about a meteor that when people touch it, black small spores go into their nose. It's a very old movie.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh, interesting. All right. Okay. Let's see. So some of my sensory data on the next page was like mercy and merciless. Mercy and merciless. Those are like two opposites, honestly, but I wrote the mode down. And then I wrote down trauma. That was like part of the data. Trauma and I don't know. I don't even know what this means. Blind reading. I wrote down blind and then reading. Blind and then reading. And then I was picking up on power and something that was almost surgical. I wrote down surgical. And I wrote down power of the human race. That's what I wrote down. Power of the human race. I was picking up on a surgery. And I heard passed down, something that was passed down. I was getting like a lot of downward data, something going down. And this is what I wrote down. This is really weird. So I wrote down something utopian. And under that I wrote utopia, Elysium, and heaven. And then I wrote down the bridge and something that's connected. The bridge and connected. And then I ended the session right there because I was like, this is weird. I don't know what this is. And I'm not supposed to know what it is, honestly. But I just thought, that's really weird. Utopia, Elysium, heaven, and the bridge and a connection are connected. So that's all the data right there. Now this is off that little object right there. I don't know. As far as it being a potato, the data just does not suggest that's a potato. Okay. It suggests there's something way more to whatever this thing is right here.
But it could also be describing an elaborate prop too.
Could be.
And that's these people that are debunking it are describing elaborate prop. I'm
Well,
just
those are
saying,
the debunkers. That's their
I saw,
job. That's
I
their
saw
job is to
some.
debunk it. Just saying.
Yeah, but if you're honestly, it's not just me and you debunking it. We don't do special effects. If that was something I went to school for and I did professionally, it's a whole nother thing going on. I would be looking at it different. And that's what those people are doing. With somebody like Christopher Lee Cat would be somebody I would love to have Stan Winston take a look at it. You know what I mean? That's who really needs to look at it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was gazing over at the chat. I want to see what people were thinking. I saw a couple people saying bioweapon. And I'm curious, it could be, but I mean, I'm wondering where are they getting that out of the data? Because
Well,
I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but it just seems like there'd be a little bit more that would be saying mass destruction or poisoning. The part about the human race kind of says that, but that also could mean using the human race to generate a bunch of views. Just saying.
gosh, I know you are very anti being real.
What do you mean?
Being a no, I don't mean like being real. I mean like being an alien entity. I don't know. I still through this data, I'm not even sure. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if this answers questions, like if it answers anything tonight. That's my whole take on this is like, I don't think this data really answers a question like, is this real or not? Because like, I know it's been debunked, but I mean, how many other targets have we done that have been debunked? But like,
all of them, every single one, I'm sure.
Yeah, all of them.
But they're just, since we're talking about Venom and Spider-Man, my spider sense is tingling, and it has been since I watched this. And it's too like, and I don't know. Did you watch the entire like movie thing all 10 days straight? There supposedly was a camera on this thing the whole time for like all 10 days.
No, I did not. And that's another thing. People say that it's edited and stuff too. It feels like there could be some edits to it and stuff. So no, of course I didn't. I ain't got time for that.
Well, the other thing is this, okay, and in that time, there's time for people to say, hey, you people that are going to analyze it, you quit making videos about it now. And he kept making them after that, okay? And in all that time, they didn't target him where he was and just come take that thing. Just like the way they came and took Mel's hole.
Right.
Or came and took the glowing ice that was in the cabin that caused the cabin to go in the ground. Yeah. They came and they were there immediately taking that stuff without being called.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You're talking about the ice that was hot that the guy heated his cabin with? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the ice that they put
radioactive
in
ice.
The thing and lowered it down. And now through the data that you and Tanya got, and you actually did Mel's holes twice for me. And that's showing that that's a Templar cylinder. Okay. So when that was lowered down, it went through some type of not just transfiguration, but through a time change also, time and dimensional change. And it did something. It's so interesting that ice, and when it started looking like that, was very much what Admiral Byrd described the smoky god that was supposed to be the inner Earth sun. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And the forgot their name. The Basque. The Basque said that seal creature was communicating with them through the radios on the AM frequency. It would communicate with them. And it was telling them that ice was bad and that ice could destroy our entire planet. Food for thought.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous. I wouldn't want to heat my house with that at all. But yeah, you wouldn't have that.
It sank the whole cabin. Remember, he said it sank the whole cabin, right? He said it sank the whole cabin
because it was just pure radiation. I'm sure. Yeah.
Real quick, let me throw something in real quick, Jessica. I go on these little tangents sometimes after our shows because I will get ideas or Spirit will tell me something. I started getting really interested in, when you and MK were talking, you showed a picture of that tree. And it's the same as the tree like the Man of Light will show that he says are manifesting trees, portal trees that the Sasquatch are using for manifestation. And then I kept thinking about picking up the radiation you are always talking about, the radiation points that you've gotten on your Geiger counters, but when dealing with two things, trees actually hold a pretty large amount of natural radiation. Do you know that?
I did not.
And I'll tell you something else that holds high radiation, like Earth radiation. Granite. You can Google right now. Google like granite. Does granite store more radiation than normal rocks and stones? You'll get yes on Google. It'll come up. But I find that interesting when you have dealing with some of these phenomenon that are happening around things that contain radiation like that. And is that what they're using for manifestation? Even beyond just orgone energy and breath, and pure prana energy, the radiation part. I mean, I think that's taken it to another level. This is something you would I've heard you mention a few things that maybe start looking a little more deeper into it. I know everything has a certain amount of natural radiation, but what holds more of it? Like granite holds a lot of it, not as much as what they call, oh gosh, I don't want to mispronounce this one, uranite. But that's actually, it makes uranium, okay? But the rocks that contain that uranite are highly radioactive. And deposits with that. Anyway, food for thought.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm wondering why, that's one of the things, I'm wondering about this guy with this object that I did the remote viewing on today. What if this thing is, if it were to be extraterrestrial or whatever, he's not wearing gloves with this thing. This is going to make him very sick. Okay. Very sick. And so you got to wonder,
and it's burning, and it's burning leaves.
It's burning. Well, it's supposed to be burning leaves, yes. And yeah, it's been humming, okay, and it's got some kind of vibrational frequency to it now. Okay, as it gets bigger, it starts it's not a rock anymore. Now it's like an entity. Okay, and they said that it's electrically charging or statically charging the air around it. And that can't be good. I'm just saying that can't be good. There's no way. That's
very interesting. I find that interesting. I've been around inorganic beings, non-physicals, that had a type of a static electricity to them. You know what I mean? And it's interesting when you get that popping and that pow. And after that, after the encounters, I found that, it's like I've been just rubbing I had on house shoes and rubbing your feet on the thick copper, and just pow, pow on everything. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I can say that some beings use that in their energy field, biofields, as a defense mechanism also, as a force field. Oh, get around one of those beings that can emit some of that. You won't get too close, I promise you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I would say that, okay. So, and I was saying, I think Andrew had said something. One of the Andrews here had said, that's a lot of, after watching the videos, it seems like a lot of work, for this, a lot of time and effort has been putting into this for this guy to be faking this video. And I don't know. Listen, like I say, even with the Bigfoot stuff, it's never underestimate the power of a bored camper, or drunk campers is what I usually say. Okay. Never underestimate, I'm not saying this guy wants to be famous. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's just wanting fame and fortune and stuff. And, he's doing this on TikTok, but however, he is getting a big following. He's probably making a lot of money right now doing this.
And imagine there's probably people helping that created that. He didn't do that that alone.
Well, I mean, but that's if it's a hoax, though. Okay, my data. When I say this is weird data right here, my data suggests that this is not a hoax. I don't think that's what I think my data says. When I'm interpreting this data, it does not sound like this is a hoax. Okay, so it's okay for us to have different opinions on this.
No, it's all right. I mean, technically,
real.
If it is a prop, a well put one together, and if it's a filmmakers do what that person just said that they don't all the time. That's all they do. For example, remember the one that Thinker Thunker messed up on the the Sequoia Sasquatch, and it winds up it was a dude in a suit. It was a thing that they had set up for some movie, and he fell for that one. Okay, so that was a very well done, elaborate one also. So, but that was what 12 years ago. You know how far they've come with that now. And I'm just saying, so if it was a prop, why would you pick up that it was a hoax? You would be picking up more the ingenuity that went into it, probably chemicals, organic, and the things that would make the prop. I'm just saying. I think we have to be, it's all right to disagree, but I and I can say this for sure. I don't care what anyone says. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Time will tell. That's right. That's right. Yeah, time will tell. And I'm actually kind of excited to see like what happens in the future. I'm ready for this alien invasion just to happen already. Okay. I mean, no, but we're in a lot of trouble. Listen, we would be in a lot of trouble if there was like real Venom stuff going on out here, and God forbid they crank up the 5G and stuff, and God knows what's going to happen here. But
in reality, if that's been sent to as many scientists as the gentleman claims, you're going to have a number of them that are looking for fame to prove that it is an extraterrestrial organism. Not everybody's going to run. Not everybody's going to be silenced. You know what I mean? So that part will be really interesting. Or will it be like the Billy Meyer fragments? Yeah.
It's actually really, really quite concerning, but it's almost like they're setting the stage for like this spreading all over the world now. You know what I mean? Like it's leaked out. And, but I would think, listen, being a researcher, being a field researcher, I know that everything, I mean, nothing gets past the powers that be. Okay. Nothing does. And I just don't think that this guy would be, and I'm going to say allowed, even though I hate to say it like that, but allowed and not like quickly silenced or whatever. Or, I mean, why was he able to put that out there like that and to have a TikTok channel? It hasn't been shut down. Nobody has confiscated this thing. Okay. They've had some guys in some hazmat suits show up. They have some official patches. Okay. But I mean, you could probably very easily also get those costumes. I know, like costumes or whatever. Or, I mean, who knows? There's so many things out there. I mean, I'm seeing what my data suggests. The data suggests that there's something real about this. Okay. And there could be a potential threat to it, but there also could be a storyline as well. Okay. We could be looking at a story, could be a setup, Barry. I'm just saying it could be a setup.
First, you're kind of making me laugh because you sound like a total Gemini. You're saying the data saying it's real, but you're supposed to it could be this, it could be that, it could be that,
could be that. You're a Gemini too. That's why we're having this issue tonight.
It's 10 days is a long time. I will say that definitely. But listen, when you're dealing with this, if it is real or even if it is a hoax, okay, the intent behind the deception and the control factor and the panic and all the emotions and things it's trying to generate might be the whole meaning of it. Okay. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just something to consider also, and that put it to you like this. Maybe it's insidious nature. It's insidious. It's more of a plot than it is, a hoax.
A plot could be.
Kind of like
this is interesting.
What is MK called the East Texas habitation? He said he preferred to call it a provocation.
Provocation. Yeah, that was interesting. I liked how he put that. Yeah. Peter B says, I also want to point out, a lot of people say that that creature is not a creature, but a type of material that's shiny and expands with heat. Could be fake, but I'm really hoping it's real high. Oh God.
That's the stuff we were talking about.
That's that stuff we were talking about. Yeah, it's not an actual creature per se, like a little alien, but it's some kind of a substance.
Yeah, the hexane expands when it gets hot.
Yes,
these
and
people are talking about. And they say it also makes it move and look like it'll breathe too.
that's what it was doing too. Okay. My thing is like when I first saw that, I mean, I'm surprised that it's not in the data and stuff. I was thinking it was like some kind of form of AI. Okay. Like some kind of something that was controlled by AI. I don't know. That's just what I thought, but that's not in the data.
You know what's interesting is something I think you discovered. Let's say part of the prop though could very well be one of those fungus that you had showed, something similar to that. That looked awful similar to me.
I
That's
wonder how
interesting.
big. Well, I want to know how big the fungus grows, too.
To take the whole
Can we pull
world,
that
right?
back up? I don't know. Well, you have done videos. You've done a lot of research on fungus, and we're even talking about how living ships are made out of fungus, right? Mushrooms, mycelium.
Mycelium component, yeah.
Interesting.
That, but I've seen that now is taking the Wetico type of a deal, that it's a dark fungus that is going to destroy the earth and stuff. And I think that's unfortunate because that takes us into the realm of the radiotropic fungus that actually uses the gamma radiation for the growth cycle. But that's a completely melanin dominant substances, fungus. And, we start dealing with the deep biosphere of the planet. It contains over 90% of our undiscovered bacteria and fungal components, microorganisms that actually are called dark microbial matter. And that's actually that's melanin dominant bacteria and fungal components in the deep biosphere. So
Very
stuff like that is equally interesting. But the fact is that from the beginning, it does look more like you could call it potato. That's funny, but I mean, it looks basically more organic than it ever looked like it was a stone or a meteorite. Don't you agree with that? It definitely didn't look like any type of iron meteorite or anything like that. Not a techite or anything like that.
It looked like it could have been one of these. I mean, look at these pictures right here. I mean, it in the beginning, it looked more like a fungus. Okay, but these things right here are not growing. I mean, I'm sure some of these are fully grown, right? This is not like what that creature, if you want to call it a creature, turned out to look like. None of these.
It'd be worth looking up the species. That species, the name of it. Does that species respond to light?
Oh, you're talking about the fungus?
Mm-hmm. Because my knowledge, I don't think most funguses aren't photosynthetic, are they? I don't think.
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the audience will know because my computer will freeze up if I try to do a bunch of research right here live.
No, I was correct. No, there are no photosynthetic mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he said that thing was reacting to the light, right? Or actually having a growth cycle. Light was triggering it to grow, is what he said.
Light was triggering it to grow. Yes, to expand and to get bigger. Yes, for sure. And so that's why he was keeping it in a safe, like in a box. And yeah, Maymay said I should do a deep mine probe. I should go back and do a deep mine probe on the meteorite.
I think you should, to be honest. I think it'd be worthwhile, don't you?
If it had a consciousness to it, I could. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that thing had a consciousness. I didn't pick up. I mean, I picked up on people, though. I didn't pick up on people in this session. And I was picking up on like British sounding women stuff. They were like, in my body or something. What they say?
See, what's weird about that is when I say, hey, that's your production crew. But then when you say the woman thing, so would the personality of mycelium be female? It's a good question, isn't it? Yeah. Well, yeah. So what? And growing would be it's multiplying as what the person said Substack. I looked that up twice. I couldn't find that definition, but hey, that's all right. But maybe it's substacking, and you're hearing voices that are female. It's food for thought. Who knows? I never thought about that. Is mycelium inherently female or male, or is it just androgynous?
Man, I don't know. That's a whole other rabbit hole. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to.
Well, we're already down the
one
rabbit
day.
hole, my friend. We like deep down there. You know,
we have gone. We're beyond rabbit holes at this point. We're portals, no holes, black holes. Okay, but yeah. I mean, I think it's all super duper interesting, no matter what. And I think maybe it would be good to go back and maybe even do like a front loader target at some point, or you know, I have other people that are also looking into this as well. Several of us were remote viewing this.
Hey, what other data did you hear them all getting?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't talked to anybody.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Not yet. Yes, this is all kind of brand new, and I'm sharing my data with everybody. So, and of course, my data is on my Patreon. You guys, if anybody wants to see the full data, I did kind of skip over a few things because it just didn't make any sense. It didn't even go with what we were talking about, I don't think. But see, that's another thing. Like, I never know.
So you skipped over data?
What pertains? I'm just using.
Data?
Listen, I'm not quoting rap songs and stuff, Barry.
Oh, come on. That's the best part. I love when you do that. Did you get some Big Daddy Kane?
Yeah, no, that actually happens. So for the audience, if you're not familiar with my remote viewing data, a lot of times it channels through rap music and stuff. Okay. And it's always kind of fun. Okay. It is fun, but no, none of that would pertain to this target tonight. So but yeah, I mean, I think that this, whatever this thing is, I do believe it is. I personally, I don't know if this guy's hoaxing. I don't think this is like a hoax, but you do. A lot of people do. I think that there's something more to it. And so I want the audience to decide for themselves. I'm not making any final decision on this. We've presented the data when it comes to that, and our opinions too, but the data is the data. So, and hey, I'm sure there's things that I've missed that y'all might.
I'm only 90%. I'm only 90% sold that it's a hoax. There's that 10% chance that it's real, but that'll come up, because if they really have sent that to the scientists, there are going to be people talking. This will be a big deal. It's not just going to go away if that's really been done. What he claimed, that changes it all from being hoax to being real right there. So it doesn't matter what I think in that respect. And I'd be honest with you, I would welcome that. I would welcome being wrong on this. But
well, here's the thing too, is like I was watching in this videos, he was like putting the pieces of, I guess he was dividing it up. It looked like he was putting it in a glass bottle or something. I was like, oh my God, are you just going to meld like these little glass bottles all over the world? Like
with the Scotch tape, with the Scotch tape. That looks secure, didn't it?
I mean, you know, well, actually, I mean, this is coming from a woman who does a lot of, I send a lot of packages out. Okay. I have a business where I send gifts and packages, and I have a shop where people purchase things from me. And I have to go to the post office quite often. And you have to hit these buttons that are like, you know, you have to say like, is there anything dangerous or, you know, any kind of chemicals in here? I mean, they're pretty serious about like what you're mailing in the mail. But of course he's in Panama. Okay. So we got to keep that in mind. He's in Panama. He's not in the United States. I don't know what their mailing stuff. I don't know what their, you know, protocol is. I have no idea. But here in the US, they are pretty strict about them. You can get in a lot of trouble if you mail stuff you're not supposed to. Or something that's dangerous, something that could hurt somebody. I mean, batteries and liquids and all that stuff.
Wouldn't you imagine that there were a couple of scientists that flew their asses there to get a sample? I would imagine, and try to get across customs with it or whatever.
Oh my God, the Gates
I know I would.
Foundation.
If I was a loaded scientist and a cat told me, "Hey, I got a sample for you," I'd be on the first jet there.
Shoot, you take your portal. Probably you portal in over there. I don't know. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, the more you think about it, it's like, well, some of it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Like just because, or maybe we just have been conditioned to think that if we get something like this, the government's going to show up and take it from us immediately. Because we're conditioned to think that, because that's what we're told, that's what we hear, that's the word that's passed down, it's what we see on these podcasts, and on movies, but really, what if it's not like that at all? What if this guy's got this? Nobody gives a crap about it. Nobody's taking it seriously. And he's able to just mail all these things out all over the world to the highest bidder.
Could be. Did you see the part where they're showing the hole, the meteor hole?
Yes,
it is supposed
it was
to still be
burning.
on fire and glowing.
Yes, I meant to get some pictures of that. Let's see. I don't know if I can pull this up. What was
with the match stitch? With the matches, there's matches in that.
That's what, well, no. Some people said there were matchsticks in there, but then I don't know. I didn't see any matchsticks, but people were saying that they thought they saw matchsticks. But other people were saying that was just the kind of grass that it was. Okay, so. I don't know. I'm afraid if I pull it up and I try to play it,
I'm sorry. I can't help it, man. It's kind of fun.
I'm just here for the data. Okay.
I think it'll be fun to see actually what becomes of this. Seriously, you know what I mean? Because if it's real, it'll be like it'll be a game changer. You know what I mean? If it's a hoax,
it's bad in a bad way.
But we'll see though.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be a game changer.
Well, we've been able to discuss both sides of it tonight. You know what I mean? And like I said, the data is kind of like, I don't know. To me, it seems as though there's something real about it, and it could potentially be a threat. But then again, also my 3-eye atlas. We can go back to the 3-eye atlas data. That was saying that it's something incoming. It's like a threat too. I mean, I'm getting like threat data in this for this little thing, and I'm getting threat data with 3-eye atlas too. Almost like there's some kind of reptilian invasion coming, or some kind of invasion coming, or something. It was really weird.
That's what you got with the atlas. When it reptilian, and then the other one was reptilian agenda. You know what you had on there? Yeah,
absolutely. And now we've got this thing that shows up after we've done those targets, and it almost kind of correlates to that data. To be honest with you, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I want it to or anything, but I'm saying it kind of does. Let's see. I have the data right here. We can look up some of those key words, some of the key terms for anyone who missed that show actually that we did. Oh, this is wild, Barry. I just saw 2 of the same exact words. So for this target for tonight, it said carbon-based, and on that target, one of the first things I wrote down was carbon-based too. Carbon-based on both of these. Probe and scouts, multiples. Probe, scouts, vein and vein, vanity, van meter. Origin and origin story. That's wild. That's in 3-eye atlas. And do you remember I said that about Venom, this being Venom's origin story? That's weird. So that's in this. Not that that's in this data for what we're talking about tonight, but origin story is in 3-eye atlas. Wow. Okay. Carbon-based, Wally, catch a predator. Oh my God. Roundabout. Oh my gosh. Wait, roundabout is in this data too. Okay. So I had not compared and contrasted y'all yet, but I'm seeing roundabout is in 3-eye atlas and roundabout is in this data as well. That's weird. That's just really odd that the same kind of words are in both of these targets, weeks apart from each other, almost 2 weeks apart. And when these were done, that's weird.
Question? What's roundabout?
I don't know. Roundabout. That's a good question. What is roundabout?
Roundabout out of the solar system.
Or maybe so. I don't know. I'm just saying that's the same words in there, which is really odd.
Now let me ask an objective question, okay? And this is just a question. This is not my opinion. This is just a question. And it's for everybody. What happens if Atlas 3-eye goes by Mars? We don't see it. It comes out of there. It leaves the solar system, and nothing at all happens, just like Oumuamua. Nobody's prediction comes true. Nothing changes. What then?
Well, then we just keep on wait. We'll wait for the next thing to come into the.
Wait till the next thing comes in, and then that'll be it,
solar
right?
System. Yeah, I guess so. You know what? It's just, I don't know. You know what? This. Well, can't get my words out. It's just something to keep us distracted, honestly, probably. But listen. I would rather be prepared and have all the toilet paper that I need and all the water and all the supplies, and if in case we have an emergency situation, than to get caught with nothing. Okay, and to not have the information, to not have, the awareness of all of this, that it could happen. Listen, the guys on my research teams, they're like, man, we've been getting our survival supplies for 30 years now, 40 years now. We've been waiting for something. Nothing's happened, but there's always a possibility that it could happen. Something bad could happen. So let's just be prepared just in case. It is what it is. Okay. There's always a potential threat, but here's another thing, Barry, like you said earlier, we can change the trajectory through our consciousness. Okay. We can change this. So maybe that's why nothing has happened, because we've become aware of it. We've shifted the energy of it. And we have gotten on a higher timeline. There's that too. And that's what we're doing tonight. There's a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm not the biggest channel on YouTube, far from it, but we have some key players in here watching this right now, listening right now, who are very powerful humans who can make the changes. We can all make these changes, and we can shift this energy, and we can shift the consciousness into something more positive. Okay. Then reptilians and Venom coming and taking over our my body. Okay.
Well, you gotta remember too, you're the only person saying that too about Atlas. Everybody else is saying it's giving ascension, and it's giving upgrades, and it's doing all this wonderful stuff, and it's like some utopia thing floating.
Could be.
Yeah.
Hey, utopia was in this one. So, yeah.
I don't think it was. Maybe after the obliteration of humanity, the next species that comes in and re-terraforms the Earth, maybe that's the utopia. No humanity. That might be what it is. We got to be. That's the real problem. That's what we have to be very, very careful of. And and I'll say it from the beginning that I, since childhood, have had visions of seeing many ships coming over this planet and major cities and changing things, just for like 2 minutes before they all disappear. But it changes everything. It's like a real first contact. And now I think that what they've done is they're trying to augment that timeline. They're trying to jump it. They're trying to change it with time edits, and they're doing that to this false fly. You got Greer and everybody, Asian alien invasion is going to be a false flag, and everybody's tripped out on it, and it's taking everybody's mind and psychokinetic energy and trained it on that to where it can manifest it within this timeline. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's and all these are things to deter us from becoming a type 1 civilization. And we're looking at all the things that are trying to divert that right now. And that's what a lot of these shows, you and I have inadvertently been dealing with. Mm-hmm. This whole thing of what they're doing with the digital twins and the SSP thing and all that. These are things that are, I'm sorry, let's be real with it, okay? The SSP thing is enslavement, no matter how you look at it. Mm-hmm. And all your data has proven that. I don't mean to offend people, but there's a reason why not all of us have been through that. Not all of us are in those programs, but we're still contactees. Doesn't make us any better or less. We got to figure all of this out, though. You know what I mean? But that SSP, that's more torture. You and I both interacted with the individual, and he's cool as heck. But come on, that cat's been living a torture. He's been tortured.
Oh yeah.
No way around that.
No, yeah, it's really traumatic, and really it's actually very, very traumatic. And I've spent a lot of time with a lot of the people that have been parts of those programs, and it is it's heartbreaking what they've all gone through. Okay, all of them, and I will be at the Super Soldier Activation Conference, y'all, coming up. And I'm going to be going over my data for a lot of those targets that I've done with those guys, and what you and I have done as well. I'm going to be talking about I'll probably talk about the TRAPPIST-1 data and some of those, anywhere there's human life on other planets. We're going to talk about it.
I was watching the Ancient Aliens marathon, and at one point, that show's been on so damn long, I kind of stopped watching after I met The Voice. Took some pictures of that cat in Vegas. But
Mm-hmm.
One of the later seasons, I was watching one of those, and Michikaku, he was talking about he wasn't quite calling them digital twins, but he's calling them digital souls. And he was talking about the terraforming process and that really being a way a Type 1 civilization goes out into space. They were even describing terraforming Mars like that. So they're making some of that transparent. I was shocked to hear him say that.
Yeah.
He didn't say digital twin cyborgs, but he's using digital oversoul, digital, what do they call it? Digital souls or something. How they're going to use that to actually terraform Mars and other places. And that's the way a real Type 1 civilization does it. I was shocked to hear him saying that. And then to put that out there like that, so it changes that but what they're doing is they could do that positively. They're traumatizing these people. They're targeting them. They're using this equipment and these different methods without any regulation whatsoever. It's a trip to see that. And is that how we become a Type 1 civilization? That way, we become like Atropos 1 with all these cryptids coming out of underground bases and real people getting taken. And from what you and I know, when they're actually taking people to these laboratories you saw in the missing 411 data.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Is that also a big part of that they're being transferred in these digital twins? And how many of them, when I hear somebody like Ross say, I've got these altars, is each one of them a different digital twin? Is that how they're doing that? That's horrible. Anyway, sorry. I mean, I have questions because I've not been through it and I'm cool with that. Thank God and thank you. But I mean, it's very serious. And that is a way they've overlapped the entire contact experience and the way we might be getting ready, consciously incorporated into this Type 1 civilization consciously. They've co-opted that at a very dark level.
Yeah. Man, yeah, there's a lot of very terrible things going on with humanity. And real quick, and what you're describing with that, the real part of it, to me, I mean, not that it all might not be, but I mean, something you were saying the day that's very real is those new implants. And we're seeing something there that's bigger, but some of those newer implants, look up the ones that are like, some of them are coming out of that company in Australia. They're like $1 million product, literally, for one of these things. Look at that and look at the organic components and what you're describing. I'm seeing a similarity there in your data. So, that right there. So then again, is that, it's whether it's real or disclosure veiled, I don't know, but I think it's real though. And that what you're saying about that, those implants, and that's going really far. Those biosensors and semiconductors, like I mentioned before, and stuff beyond that. You've got these pico devices, these all these different things that are not just nano, but they're going down to the pico. That's Well,
that's why it's important that the people that are going through that, they need to, write that stuff into their county reporter, a declaration of their cognitive ability, cognitive rights. And then when they get a body scan, a multi-scan, like a Y-band scan and things, they can take that. People are trying to take that evidence to court. That's where all this is going to end up, is in court. Because right now there's nothing for people's cognitive rights, neurocognitive rights, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's, at least not the level we're talking about anyway.
Well, and it's not just people that are targeted individuals that are like part of these secret space programs. It's all of us. We're all being targeted with some sort of something. Okay. If it comes down to any kind of mind control, energy weapons, all that kind of stuff, we're all being targeted to some degree. And so we're just out here treading the waters out here, trying to figure out what these space potatoes are all about. And,
you're right. And that's something I haven't seen. I've heard this multiple times. I haven't been to any conferences lately, but I hear a lot of times people come from these conferences, they get sick. And I think that's targeted too. That's being done deliberately. You know what I mean? That's a shame.
Are you talking about
Right.
me? Because I always come home sick.
Yeah, you're
Always
one
do.
of them, several people. You know, I remember when I spoke into what's year? It's 2017 when I spoke at SETI the second time. People were saying that they were getting, when certain people are getting hitting. Oh, I wasn't supposed to hear them speaking because I got hit with energy weapons. And when I spoke, a bunch of people jumped up and ran out and was getting water and coming back in. I figured it was getting water because I was boring. They start saying something happened. I got dehydrated when you were talking. They're hitting us with energy weapons. And it was when he started talking about such and such. And at that point, I was still a little newer to the directed energy weapon thing. It seemed maybe a little far out to me. I was like, they're just making excuses because they was putting people to sleep. You know what I mean? But in reality, I get it now. And when you start getting people that are targeted, several of them in one location, I'm sure they're shooting all sorts of micro audio spots. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never attributed
microwave audio spots. Sorry.
Yeah, I've never. I do come home quite sick from a lot of those events, and I just always took it as me just getting drained energetically from being around a lot of people. I'm not used to being around a lot of people, y'all. Okay, I'm used to being out in the woods chasing Bigfoot, hanging out with my kid. That's about it. So, but I do come home quite sick from a lot of those events, and sometimes I'm so sick it takes me a week or two to get better from that. So that's why I don't do, I mean, I probably could do more public events than I do, but I try not to too much because of that. And it could be a targeted individual kind of, I don't know. I try not to think like that. Yeah.
I think it is, cause and that's really cool. In our association, the second conference we spoke at together was, I got to meet more targeted individuals. I really talked to them. Some of it voluntarily, some of it involuntary, but I got to learn a lot more to where, it doesn't take much for me to go on. I'm like a bloodhound. I research things. I try to learn, you know what I mean? And I hadn't got exposure to those particular people, especially somebody that could show me their multi-body scans and show me evidence of their body emitting frequencies and scalar frequencies. It probably didn't meet scalar frequencies, different frequencies, the megahertz that they shouldn't, you know what I mean? It's fascinating, not cool at all, but it's very real. And I'm hoping that maybe, what you're doing, this stuff can stop this potential enslavement of our society. And, and then when we start seeing what they're doing, this TRAPPIST-1 type thing. So is that like a bunch of cats like Matrixed out? Like they're in one place, and and then it's the digital twins that built everything, and they're living their life while these people are in these tanks, like on a Matrix or in these whatever. I mean, it really makes you wonder, because when you start dealing with what I know, I see that Sophia Stewart is speaking at conferences now, like that guy. It'll be interesting to get those two together, let them butt it out. Who really wrote that manuscript? Anyway,
you're talking about the Matrix. Yeah.
But it's not my business. But it's fascinating. But when dealing with that, what she had said to me on that show, it just kind of stopped me. Just when she said, the Terminator was what Skynet and everything did to us physically out here, but that had nothing to do with what happened in cyberspace. How they took us psychologically in cyberspace. That's the Matrix. And that's why John Connor was Neo. They're the same individual. And then she started saying JC, John Connor, is really supposed to be Jesus Christ. And then she went that whole thing. I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not religious, so I only could go so far. But it's interesting, though,
It is. Well, we do live in the Matrix. We are enslaved. Or not. I want to say, I don't want to believe that I'm a slave to the system. Okay. I feel like I'd like to think that I have busted out of the Matrix, but of course there are still elements of us living in the Matrix. You know what I mean? As long as we're human, we're living here in the 3-dimensional reality. We are still in the Matrix. Okay. But nonetheless, it is a system that was set up to keep us entrapped, to keep our minds stuck in a little box and not to think outside the box. And boy, we think way outside the box over here every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday on the Cryptid Huntress channel, we really do think outside the box, Barry. And you and I, your channel, man, you've got so many great videos and done so much great research.
Makes us fan.
You and I are not inside the box thinkers whatsoever.
No.
Not at all.
But I try to make sure you don't go into my box too much, because I kind of like, I'm like in a penalty box, I think.
Your penalty box.
Like Q on Star Trek, he put all humanity in the penalty box. Because a lot of stuff I talk about people don't like, because it's not mainstream, it's not cookie cutter, or it's not strictly reptilians or grays or clones. It's different things I talk about that kind of pertain to my experiences and then a little bit more. So it doesn't go over with everybody. But I don't have much time, because we're all going to die, and I'm trying to not go through that cycle the same way. So that's really what I'm more obsessed with at present.
That's like one of my favorite phrases. This is so morbid, and people will say something, I'm like, but we're all going to die. Like, it's just the truth. We're all going to die. So let's have fun. Let's do what we want to do. Don't care what people think about you. Just be your authentic self. Think outside the box. Just do you, man. And we're here for a short time, a fun time, not a long time.
One of the lives I'm going to do, I've got actually like a few lives written down I'm going to do. One of them is within like the next 7 or 8 solar years. No, seriously though. One of them is going to be about just simple word, judging. We all judge.
Okay.
I do it. Everybody does it. And we tend to judge and condemn people so quickly that we do too much judging and not enough living.
Wait a second. You're just judging that potato. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The hoax. Wait, hey, those kids. He may be a great cat. It may be a hoax, but it may be a good-hearted hoax. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't know.
I was messing with you.
I know. But seriously, but the way the judgments and things is, I think, something that we have to, as a species, let go a little bit more and do more living. You know what I mean? And it's in a way, especially like, like for example, like somebody asked me recently, well, would you rather have a gun held on you by a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, or a Catholic? And what my answer was? Shit, none. None whatsoever. No code, no race, no. I don't want nobody hold a gun on me, period. And then the next question was, do you think that a good person that has lived their life good, righteously, but does not believe in the Creator and God will still go to the higher realms? Do you think they can still get into the kingdom, quote unquote? This is religious people asking me this, okay? And, and where am I to judge that because they don't believe in the Creator the way I do, or a Creator, period, that good living is not enough to achieve higher status, what we call ascension right now? It's not for me to judge that. That's hubris. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, I was taught to not talk politics or religion at the dinner table, and I try to keep that here on my show too. But yes, who are we to judge? Who are we to judge? You know what I mean? That's my philosophy. Like, who are we to judge? So, just live right, man, and believe in something, okay? And
hopefully something on the love side.
I try to stay away from it, from talking religion, okay? Yeah. Oh
I don't have religion. I have no religion, so I can't. I have no religion at all. And and I don't mean that in a bad way for those that do. It's just not for me. I believe in Creator and spirituality. And when I died, it only got stronger. I wasn't wrong on that part. But it's whatever it takes for people to get to the Creator and their own self-awareness, that is within dignity and not hurting and destroying others or murdering others. And that's something I wouldn't want to do either, is have that too, as somebody that is, killed. I've helped some people cross over that didn't cross over, Jessica, and these are earthbound spirits that tell me that. Well, I said, I asked, why didn't you go into the big trick? Why didn't you go into the light? Why did you choose to be stuck here? And they tell me that I've heard that. They say, man, I've killed people. I killed a couple of people. And I think that they're probably, of this and that. And I know they're waiting on me over there, and they've been, yada, yada. And then what happens when they transition and they go to that other side and you see those people there, or they're in that frequency. See, it's a very nebulous deal in there that's odd. I don't make the rules, though. I can just tell you what I've observed to a degree. You know what I mean? We don't understand everything a lot.
Yeah. I don't understand nothing about
that's totally
nothing
true
about
statement.
nothing.
100% agree with that. 100%
Hillbilly
agree
Herb
with that.
says we judge others for what we don't like in ourselves. Man, ain't that the truth? Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
That's why we got to love yourself so that you can love everybody else around you. You don't gotta like everybody though, but
that's the most important thing, and we don't. We're so hard on ourselves. And I've said before, we're 4 components: the mind, body, spirit, and the negative self. The negative self is powerful. It absorbs so much of our free energy and it's telling us these things. These things, that some of those thoughts, they sound like they're in our own mind, which a lot of them are, but some of them aren't. Some of the thoughts come from outside, but our own words to ourselves are very hard. Then we go through trauma. We make these decisions against ourselves. That fractures the negative self into negative identities. And all that stuff starts running in the background, consuming our attention, our energy that can be used for pure perception. We're beings of perception, but we need free energy to do it. Free cognitive consciousness energy of perception. That's very real. Just like right now, like during a session, this is what people are like, well, Barry, how do I really focus my intent of will? How do I focus my will? And what's weird is, in a way, a lot of times we have to do it through the imagination. Our imagination allows us to really focus through our visual creativity and the real manifestation of us. It's amazing. That's where a lot of our power lies, because as pieces of the creator principle passes through us, through our spirit. So we're able to create in that way, and an imagination is a huge way. When we get told as a kid, oh, those invisible friends of yours that had names, they're not real. You better not talk about them. People think you're crazy, and suddenly you don't see them anymore. You stop seeing them. Jessica, how many invisible friends did you have as a kid that had names when you were a little kid, younger than even your son is now?
I don't think I had invisible friends. I don't think.
You'd have any. You'd have any.
I don't think so. I have no idea.
As psychic as you are, you didn't. I'm really surprised.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know. Never heard about it. So, yeah, but I did see ghosts and stuff. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
None of them talk to you?
I mean, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't think so.
None of them hung out in the closet.
You're talking about like ghosts hanging? You're talking about me being friends with ghosts? No, I was never friends with ghosts.
None of them communicated with you? Did they talk to you?
Not that I can recall. I don't remember, Barry. I have no idea. You put me on the spot. I'm getting interrogated right now.
when I was younger, I sometimes couldn't tell the difference between the living and the dead, in terms of some that would appear to sometimes be bums or transients, and they weren't. I didn't understand that they were actually, because I was still seeing in a way that was more third dimensional in that way. So I didn't know all the time. I know now, though, but just different. Just food for thought for people. That's all. It's just things that we get molded so quickly. Right after you get, I don't know if they still do that, but when the first breath, don't they slap the kid on the butt? Wham! And the baby cries, wham! I think it's more than just that slap. I think it's when they open their eyes the first time, after coming from the other side, coming through the womb, you're still seeing things that are less dense. And when you see the density here, you just scream, oh my God! And then you start getting programmed or molded to this perception.
Man,
and that keeps going
programming
on.
is deep. Yeah.
Well, it has to be to a degree to survive here, sadly.
Because it's the Matrix. It's the Matrix. And we're busting out of it. We're trying to. Somebody in the chat said, well, as long as we're using their money, we're still in the Matrix. That's true. That's true, I guess. But there's a lot of things keep us stuck to the Matrix, y'all. A lot of it.
I got none of their money. I got none of my money. I got no money. Yes, I guess I'm good.
Some of us ain't got none of that. So we don't got to worry about it, right? That's funny. Oh, man. Yeah, well, this has been an interesting show tonight, for sure. Very interesting. And it's interesting that, you and I both have, I'm not saying I disagree with anything you said tonight at all. I don't disagree with it. But the data suggests that this could actually be something that's real as well. So potentially even, I don't know. Like, it's all going to come out in the wash one day, though. Like, we'll find out one day if this guy was hoaxing or not. So the best advice is just to prepare for anything. Prepare for anything. Get your toilet paper and your water and your storable food, just in case. Because you never know.
That's good. You take the high road. That's cool. See, since I'm interrogating you, I think your data sucks. And no, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. It will be data. We'll just see what happens. It will be really interesting because we'll know the truth. You know what I mean? Either way. So.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if it's a hoax and not suppression, we'll be able to tell the difference at that point. If it's real suppression, that'll come out now because too many people have seen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah. There's something weird about that though, and I don't know. The first time I saw it, listen, my gut reaction when I first saw those guys' videos was it was fake, and that was a potato, and that's why I had my potato tonight. Okay, my potato. So I thought it was a potato or a fungus of some sort, and it does act like a fungus as well. So. And like I said, the data is just data. It's just data. But you never know. You never know. That's why I love remote viewing. I love it. Because maybe, just maybe, some of this will make more sense one day when we find out more about whatever's going on out there. Maybe so.
Makes me wonder if, technically, this fungus that is this negative AI fungus, this mind virus, Wetico, whatever, if it is capable of infecting computers as we know them now on a biological level, like quantum computers more specifically. Mm-hmm. Isn't that an interesting thought?
Yeah. Sure is. It is. Yeah. Man. All right. Well, I hope the audience is able to come up with your own decisions as to what y'all think this is. I think it was kind of split. I think there's a lot of people that think this is a hoax. There's a lot of people that have no idea. And or think that it could be real as well. So I think a lot of us, I think the majority of people are going to be kind of in the middle. Like we'll have to wait for some more information to come out on it.
It's for the audience. If it's the lady with the scales, which one is this? This the hoaxers. This is the real ones. Which one is? You know what I mean? I'm kind of curious. I haven't been looking over there to see like that. Oh
my gosh. Yeah. Well, nonetheless, I had fun. Okay, I always have fun, and if nothing else, this is a good time just to kind of have everybody focus on your highest timeline, no matter what. Okay, listen, dealing in the cryptid community and being a field researcher and having a podcast, we deal with hoax stuff and like people making things up. I don't deal with it that much. Okay, I don't know. I think I repel it. Okay, people don't come at me with fake stuff usually. Okay, I don't get it, but it's out there. It's definitely out there, and so everything could be hoaxed. Anything could, especially in the days that we have now of AI and stuff. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter, I guess, in a way. It kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. Let's just focus on your highest timeline, living your best life, focus on your everyday life right now. I mean, this is happening in Panama. I'm not saying it's not going to affect us, okay, here in the United States where I live, or in my home. But really, in the end, I still had fun talking about a space potato tonight. Okay, no matter what, and I'm making the best of it, making the most of it, and I'm prepared. Listen, if stuff goes down, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever happens, and so, yeah, life goes on, whether we have space potatoes and fungus or not. Okay, so. And Venom. Let's just hope that Venom doesn't take over and the zombie apocalypse doesn't happen. Full of people with venom inside my body, whatever that lady said. It's in my body.
Those movies weren't too bad, actually. It was like, let's get out of here right now. That's a red one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nathan said Attack of the Mutant Potatoes. It could be. Yes, could be. I ran this past a couple of people today. Some of my very smart insider friends today, this afternoon. And both of them said, without knowing the whole story behind this, they both said, that sounds like a fungus. That's what they said. And I didn't say anything about a fungus at all. But both of them said, man, that sounds like a fungus. So there's that.
Which is what it is on every movie. That's what it always is a fungus. Except for maybe Creepshow. I guess that could have been a fungus / algae, because when he touched it, it was green. He's like, oh, meteor shit. But yeah. Interesting.
Well, could be a fungus. Yeah, could be a fungus.
Yeah. In fact, they had another one called never mind. It's another type of fungus. There's another Doctor Who episode where they get the white stuff over, and I'm trying to think what the main fungus called itself. It was extraterrestrial, though. Yeah.
How do we protect ourselves? How do we protect ourselves against a fungus? Is there some kind of powder we can sprinkle on it, or what? Just saying.
Oh, beats me.
I'm kidding.
You got me on that, man.
I'm kidding.
You got me on that.
I know. Is there something I can put in my bug out bag to prevent these funguses from getting me? I don't know. I know that's a bad joke. It's a bad joke.
I don't think you would know they were coming.
The potatoes, Attack of the Killer Potatoes. Actually, there was a movie when I was a kid. It was really funny. It was called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Do y'all remember that? That's going to tell you how old I am. It tells you how old I am right there. Yeah.
Right at the same time as the Kentucky Fried movie. Yeah.
That might have been one of those Elvira movies or something. I don't know.
Like a DC Cab type of movie. I got you.
I don't know. I just know my dad watched it. It was probably a dirty movie for all I know. I have no idea. But anyways.
Just since we're on our way out, I know, just a little bit of fun. I was enjoying earlier. I was listening to a couple hours ago, Coast to Coast AM on YouTube released a different David Pauletti's episode where he's talking about the Bigfoot DNA. It's not the other one that they had. It's a different one.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of just enjoying listening to that with all the stuff that T-Carp is putting forward and Melbourne Ketchum now. And they're really going hard at that genome project again. I think that they're writing a new project. David had mentioned that. And they're writing a new paper that is probably going to might get accepted. We'll see what happens. I think that really trying to change the ball field concerning with the human DNA part of the Sasquatch thing, and how they're really just a different type of people with different abilities. I think that's really interesting.
A bunch of hairy forest people. Yes, I think that's great. And hopefully it's time. Hopefully the time has come to do the full disclosure on the DNA studies and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to it. I think that's great. And I really did enjoy big time having MK Davis on the show on Saturday night. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. And he is definitely a treasure. And he tells it like it is too, by the way. He tells it like it is. And I appreciate that big time. Yeah. He didn't hold anything back. He held nothing back, actually. I was like, dang.
And it was interesting to hear him saying like things like when he talked about like Bluff Creek, he was saying some things that, remember he was like when he talks about a big key to that was Patterson's wife. And she told him some things that he kept saying that massacre was a matter of fact, not
Yes.
not he said that it's a matter of fact. It's not hypothesis, or it's not. I found that fascinating. That's a pretty major statement, because as far as I can tell, he doesn't BS much.
He did not. Yes, he knew a lot more about that than I was expecting even to hear about. And yeah, so if you guys missed that show, please go back and watch that. It was from Saturday night on the Hunt with MK Davis, and it's the thumbnail that has Patty on it, the Bigfoot, and that was full disclosure on that. And you and I did the show where we went over the remote viewing data for Bluff Creek, Patty. What happened to her?
That was a blind target too.
That was a blind target. I was getting shot at. And man, I got a good bit of pushback for that too. And then it felt good to have MK come on the show and then show us the evidence that probably actually did happen.
That's one of the ones. That's one of those targets I regretted giving you, because I didn't think it would come out like that. I mean, that's like, I was hoping that wasn't even real. You know what I mean? It threw it totally over left from where I was even wanting to go with that whole deal. So that was intense,
It was. And Amy, I'm sorry. Amy said she was broken when MK said that. I was so sad. A lot of people were very sad about that. I did see that in the comments, y'all. So I apologize. That was very heartbreaking, hearing about that. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, it did appear as though there were Bigfoots that died that day. Okay, we're just gonna leave it at that. They died, and there was evidence of it, and MK showed it to us. Yeah. So very sad.
And like I said, he talked about that was intense. I heard him talk about it before, but it's like, wow, and it makes you think a lot. Like a name he didn't mention, but I know somebody he dealt with a lot that had a pretty extensive knowledge of that too. Wasn't it Bobby Short, right?
I think so. I think that's what he said. I don't recall.
I know she was really familiar. Upset about it. Yeah, she thinks she died a couple of years ago. But hey, change of pace real quick. Since you got the old B-dub third, you got drilled by me tonight, was interrogated by the B-dub. Question. So when you raced race cars, did you listen to rap when you were doing that?
What?
Did you listen to rap when you were racing cars?
You don't have radios in your helmet. I didn't have a radio in my helmet. No.
No, you don't. I guess not. Would you be too loud?
All I heard was an engine. Engine and my dad yelling at me. Yeah. I think I cussed a little bit. It was wild and free when I was a kid.
Was he
nobody could hear
me. Was
your
dad one of your pit bosses?
My pit crew.
You know what you call that? Pit crew, sorry.
He was my one and only pit crew. Yes.
Yeah, right on.
Yes, he was. My dad. Yeah, I think it's more of a parent sport than it is a kid sport, to be honest. The kids are just the ones driving the cars, and the parents are the ones out there being the most competitive. So yeah, when it comes to racing, quarter midgets is what I race.
Every time I see you now, I think of Stroker Ace. I'm Stroker Ace. Only thing I like to do more than racing is to stick. There was an Oracle chicken in my face. It was just you don't remember that movie Stroker Ace with Burt Reynolds and was it Jim Gomer Pyle? And
oh my gosh, no.
Really, you never saw it? Okay, never mind. I'm gonna quit there. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. You don't remember Stroker Ace? Probably nobody does. It was a terrible movie. Thumbs down. But oh well, I can't win them all.
Oh man, no, I'm not familiar with that.
Lonnie Anderson, when she was in WKRP era.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I know who that is, but no, I didn't watch that. No, I didn't. But I did have a good time.
Racing movies. Yeah. No, I think it's pretty cool you did that. You're one of the few people that can say, you've hunted Bigfoot, you've hunted dogmen, you've raced cars, you've hung out with was it Dominique Wilkins?
Oh my
I
God.
mean, that's pretty cool. You race cars with or what? Not race cars, Hot Wheels, right? With Big Boss Man. That's a pretty cool recipe, Joe.
G.I. Joe's. It's G.I.
G.I.
Joe's.
Joe's, my fault. G.I.
Yes.
Joe's, my fault.
Yes. I was Lady Jane. Absolutely. Yes, I have had an interesting life. That's just a little tiny tidbit right there of a little snapshot of my life. Yes. It's been fun. Yeah, I was listening to rap music back then, by the way, but no.
So lay it on us. Who was your favorite rapper? Who's your favorite group?
From what? It depends on what period you're talking about. Depends on how old I was.
Back in the day.
Oh man, it depends. I mean, I grew up in Georgia, so like my favorite were like, you know, I was always into old school rap and stuff, and like Atlanta rap. I'm friends with Atlanta rappers and stuff, so you know. I mean, Outkast was one of my favorites, and Goody Mob, and I know some of those guys personally. So.
Did you meet Outkast?
I didn't know them back then. Yeah, actually, my friend Daryl that comes into the chat sometimes, he's part of Dungeon Family, actually.
Wow.
And yep. We used to hang out. Yeah, I don't want to get into that tonight. That was my former life. Back before I was chasing Bigfoot and stuff. But yeah, I used to have a lot of fun hanging out with all those guys. Yeah. So, yeah.
I wonder if Bigfoot likes rap. I hear they don't like rock. They say never play any AC/DC in Bigfoot area. Seriously, I've heard that before several times. Why? I don't understand.
I don't. You know what? Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I do not like playing music out in the field. I like the nature sounds, and I can only imagine that Bigfoot does not like people blaring music out in the campgrounds and stuff like that. Like, I can't stand that. I get out in the woods for the peace and quiet, not for all the noise. It's just like the noise. And I consider a lot of music today noise, by the way. I do. Yeah, Andrew's talking about Dinko. Yeah, Dinko's my friend. I had Dinko on the show from Leaders of the New School. He was here. Talking about cloned rappers. He used
to be part of Quest, right?
No, well, they had songs with Tribe, but he was Leaders of the New School. Lawns. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Shout out to Dinko D. What's up, Dink?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was a big Diggable Planets fan.
Me
anyway,
too.
Yeah. Blowout
You're
Cone.
cool like that.
You know better than that. You know.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know, real quick before we get going, the question. So that thing I had sent you, which was I believe it's Cryptid of Canada, episode 76, or it might have been episode 46. 46 or 76. Either way, it was the one with the pile of Sasquatch and the pile of dead Sasquatch and the pile of dead dogmen that was done by those three reptilians that were. I find it so interesting though. Each time I've heard any deal with, well, you know,
I don't know about that story.
And it makes me wonder.
I don't believe it. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's kind of weird because it was supposed to be at the Land Between the Lakes, right?
Yeah.
And there's we've got my leading expert here on Land Between the Lakes who Cryptiville lives up there. He just put your link in the chat. So the story was, okay, I'm just going to tell you my opinion on it, okay? And because I think it's kind of out there, way out there. It's like these people said the guy walked up on reptilians with dead dogmen and dead Bigfoots in piles. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I've heard some really wild out there stories out of the LBL. And I can't say I believe those either, some of them. But I'm just saying, that's just my opinion, as being like a researcher and being out there in the field. I've never been to Land Between the Lakes, but I just never heard of like piles of dead bodies of that with reptilians standing over them. I don't know. It just sounds like somebody might have been smoking a little wacky weed or something out there on that one, or just maybe made that up. I mean, the Land Between the Lakes has a lot of history behind it and stuff, but I just, that's a lot. That's a lot.
How about the other one I sent you? Do you believe that one?
I don't know. I don't know which one you sent me.
It was another deal of these velociraptors attacking a Sasquatch.
Oh,
and was maybe to fight them off.
That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one, though. I don't know about that one. I do remember hearing that one, and I don't know. I mean, I believe that there are velociraptors out there. It could be real. Could be reptilians.
You know, two things. One is each time I've heard only been 3 or 4 times I've heard of this type of a conflict between the Sasquatch and the reptilians. They're always described as different than the ones we're accustomed to hearing about in the media. They're always described as being these velociraptors with these tails that are flapping and about 15 feet tall. And it takes me back to the Tom Powell. I was talking to him, and it was the same day that at the same time, not long time, he was calling MK on his phone. He goes, MK is a good friend of mine. You want to talk to him? I was like, hell yeah, man. So he's calling him, but he didn't answer. He said, he's not answering. But it was right around that time, maybe right after that call, he started talking about how there were they went to this place that was this tribe. I can't remember which tribe, sorry. But they went there because there was a Bigfoot family there, and the male was supposed to be about 12 feet. And they want to get a look at him if they could. And when they got there, the people of the tribe said, we've not seen him. We've only seen the daughter and the mother. And he had this older man with the cane, the walking stick. I can't remember his name. Not Roger. Anyway, he's a Sasquatch whisperer, okay? Animal whisperer. Yeah. And he whispered with this mother, apparently. And the mother said, oh, my husband's gone. Basically, the green ones took him to do the work. We don't like the green ones because they put us to work. But when he's done with his work, he'll be back. Mm-hmm. And I
believe Tom, that one. I believe that.
I was like, well, who the hell's the green ones? And he's like, well, my other friend, he would never say it publicly, but David says this. Some Paletti's, he says it's the reptilians. Wow. So he would never say that publicly. And these other people say it's the reptilians. And I just sat there. You know, some things just kind of stop you from it. I started thinking. I was like, who else would be strong enough to control a 12-foot tall Sasquatch? It would have to be about a 15.
I don't listen when it comes down to like the mind control aspect of them too, though. Like you got to think about it. I mean, anytime that I've had an experience with an ET, I was put to sleep. Not that I could, I'm trying to like fight an ET. But I did have a dream right after one of those experiences where I was fighting the Munchkins and the Wizard of Oz. So maybe I did try to fight one. That was a screen memory. Okay, but they can control. I think there's a lot of mind control that goes on when it comes to the Greys or the ETs versus, and maybe reptilians versus the Sasquatch. I don't know. That's just through some remote viewing that my team had done. Okay, so that's the only reason I say that.
I'll tell you, whatever it was I dealt with at that ranch, the elder, whatever, telepathically, it was as strong as the ETs I've dealt with. It's telepathically speaking. It was extremely strong, stronger than me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I mean, just food for thought on that. Question real quick. During your Sasquatch experiences, did that ever make you tired or sleepy?
I mean, we have often, when we're out in the field, we go to bed, like everybody turns in for the night a little too early and we don't know why. And a lot of times it's when things are happening that are like, it's probably Bigfoot like around us. And we just end up going to bed when we probably should be up all night. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, it's kind of like a hypnotic trance or something. I'm not saying like we're put in a trance, like we're all hypnotized. It's not like that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, we always kind of, a lot of us would chalk it up to like, we're just getting old and we've been out here a lot and, it is what it is. There's no point in staying up all night. We could sleep. If anything happens, we'll hear it and we'll wake up, So it happens when you've been doing Bigfooting for a long time. It's still exciting, but there's, I don't know, if I can sleep versus staying up all night, not having any activity, I'd rather just go to sleep and wake up when something happens. Okay. So it just depends. But anyways, I'm rambling.
All right. Sure.
Yeah. This has been a fantastic show tonight, Barry. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I don't know if we answered questions or not tonight about any of this, but it sure was fun. So so I don't know about the audience, but I'm going to keep following, what's his name? Ken from Panama, Ken Panama. And you guys too, I highly recommend it. It's actually way entertaining. I can't wait to see how big this thing gets. How big do you think this thing's going to eventually get, Barry? I mean,
it's like the blob, as big as the planet. That's what it quits until it finally gets contained, you know? And I mean, who knows? I mean, if it's that type of a reproducing creature, fungal or whatever, who knows? Fascinating. I mean, seriously, I mean, if that turns out to be real, you're looking at one of the biggest stories in a very long time. You know, that's the story. That's history right there. Because that comes down to the science. He mailed that stuff off. Somebody's going to prove something. If that's really been done and that's real, I think that's pretty exciting.
Yes, if it's real, we'll see. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. It'll be yeah. I mean, for humanity's sake, I hope it's fake. Okay, but we'll see.
What's up, Beth? I don't know if we've done a session before. I'm sorry. I'm starting to not be able to remember every single person I've worked with, but you had made a comment the last show we were doing that you were positive. You've been on board a craft. Email me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com if you want to do a regression, because you can find out a lot more about that. You sounded very sure of it. You have memories. We can focus in on that and get all the information about it. I think it's very prevalent. And for some reason, when you said that, it really stuck out to me. So if you ever feel like a regression, shoot me an email. If we haven't already done one, I don't think we have. But anyway, food for thought.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, Barry, tell everybody where they can find you. Where is your YouTube channel, your Patreon, what kind of services you provide and all that?
Down in HE double hockey sticks. No, I'm just kidding. You can check me on the YouTube, Barry Littleton on YouTube, Barry Littleton on Patreon, Barry Littleton on Facebook, and Barry Littleton on Instagram. I tend to do a little bit more stuff on YouTube, and I post stuff on Facebook sometimes, a little bit more. So those are ways to catch me. My email is barrylittleton13@gmail.com. Seem to be doing better about getting back with people lately. I'm kind of proud. So.
Oh, that's good. I
was screwing that up bad for a while. So.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much for being here, Barry.
Hey,
it's always good.
And this will be interesting. Since I'm not on TikTok yet, keep me posted with all the stuff that goes on, all the new findings and stuff he puts up. Let me know.
I will. Yes, I'm super excited about it myself, and we'll see. I don't know how much bigger of a container he can get if it keeps growing. He's gonna put it in a chest cooler next, and then it'll be like take up a whole house, and then I mean it's out of control.
Probably
and it all started off as a potato.
Yeah,
as a potato. Mr. Potato over here, and a fungus. And now it's spread worldwide. So I don't know. Everybody, please be safe out there, y'all. Okay. And don't live in fear. I hope you guys had as much fun tonight as I did. Okay. And please come back and see me on Saturday night. I will be here on The Hunt, 10 p.m. Eastern. I promise you guys it'll be a fantastic show. It always is. Okay. And again, if you guys wanted to check out all the remote viewing data, it is on my Patreon. And I want to thank all of my Patreon members. I want to thank all of my channel members as well. And all my moderators. Thank y'all for being here tonight. And and Barry, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a different one.
It was. Listen, like I always say, don't live in fear, live in awareness. Okay. And I don't know, just no matter what, be prepared, y'all. Be prepared. I mean, I'm assuming this could be probably a hoax too. I don't know. But just be prepared. Go get your toilet paper and your water and your storable foods, and stock up, and be ready for anything. And I'll see you guys back here on Saturday. I love you guys. I'm sending all my love and light out to everybody, and see you later. Bye, y'all. Bye, Barry.